private message when striker was ironically cheered off after just 33 minutes in Newcastle defeat. Harry Maguire revealed that he sent a private message to Joshua Zirkzee after Man United fans ironically cheered when their summer signing was substituted in a 2-0 defeat by Newcastle at Old Trafford last month. The striker came off after just 33 minutes, as the Red Devils conceded 2 goals in the opening 19 minutes and had their backs against the wall. If anyone knows what it's like to overcome adversity from fans and pundits, it's Maguire. The centre-back has himself been booed at Old Trafford in the past and was stripped of the United captaincy in 2022 by Erik ten Hag. Maguire has had to win over supporters during his career and is pleased that Zirkzee has redeemed himself in the eyes of many fans since the Newcastle game. This included when the Dutchman sealed a dramatic FA Cup third-round victory for United against Arsenal, scoring the decisive penalty in the shootout. "I sent him a message privately after the Newcastle game," Maguire said. Harry Maguire revealed he sent a private message to Joshua Zirkzee after he was booed off. Zirkzee was substituted in the 33rd minute of United's defeat against Newcastle last month. "He's a good player. You don't play for this club if you're not a good player. With Josh coming on against Arsenal, he really changed the game for us, and to score the penalty in the shootout. It probably gave him the confidence and belief that he belongs here." Maguire also said if United's greats of the past have come in the firing line of critics, it should come to no surprise that this Red Devils side are facing a similar backlash. "There are so many ups and downs. Every game you lose, there's a lot of scrutiny, and that's part and parcel of playing for this club," Maguire added. "I look at previous players, the likes of Beckham and Rooney had a lot of scrutiny. If it can happen to them, it can happen to anyone. The fans have been brilliant with him. We have amazing fans that stick with us through thick and thin. When times are tough, they really get behind you and support you. I have felt that, and I am sure Josh would have been feeling that over the recent weeks." Zirkzee has struggled for form since landing in Manchester from Bologna last summer in a €36.5 million deal. In 30 games in all competitions, he has scored just 5 goals, although Zirkzee's rival for United's number 9 spot, Rasmus Højlund, has not done much better. Højlund has netted 7 times in 25 games this season. United have scored just 27 in the Premier League this season, the 6th fewest. Mail Sport previously reported that Juventus are lining up a loan move for Zirkzee. However, the 23-year-old is keen on fighting for his place under Amorim at United. Amad Diallo has become the darling of Old Trafford under Ruben Amorim. Rangers fans could be forgiven for not remembering their former loanee, who flopped in his 5-month spell when Amad Diallo runs out for Manchester United at Old Trafford on Thursday night. Fans of Glasgow Rangers could be forgiven for checking twice to see if it's the same player who spent 5 months on loan at Ibrox just 3 short years ago. Diallo, the new darling of Old Trafford. Diallo, the young man with a new contract. Diallo, the player United worked hard to keep while holding talks over the potential departures of Alejandro Garnacho and Marcus Rashford. It's quite a contrast from the Diallo who flopped on loan at Rangers after moving from United in January 2022, hitting a low point when he was substituted at halftime of his first Old Firm game against Celtic. So often in football, it's about being in the right place at the right time. Fortune hasn't always smiled on Diallo in the 4 years since he arrived at United, but the instantly likable Ivorian is reaping the rewards now. No player has fitted better into the system and ethos brought to Old Trafford by new head coach Ruben Amorim. There seems to be a match made in heaven. While other wide players like Rashford and Garnacho suddenly face an uncertain future at the club, the young man who could easily have walked away as a free agent this summer has a new 5.5-year contract and the adulation of all United fans. Amad Diallo has become the darling of Old Trafford with his displays for Man United this year. 12-minute hat-trick as Amorim's side came from behind to beat Southampton a week ago cemented Diallo's place in their hearts, coming on the back of his goals in the win over Manchester City and the draw at Liverpool. The little winger is the man for the big occasion. Since Erik ten Hag was sacked at the end of October, Diallo has started 13 games under caretaker Ruud van Nistelrooy in Amorim, scoring 8 goals and 5 assists in all competitions. Only Liverpool's Mohamed Salah and Alexander Isak, of Newcastle, have been involved in more Premier League goals for their teams. Despite a momentous FA Cup quarter-final winner against Liverpool last season, Diallo didn't always seem to have the trust of Ten Hag, who preferred his former Ajax winger Antony or Rashford on the right flank. It came to a head in the manager's penultimate game away to Fenerbahce when a stony-faced Diallo was sent on as an 89th-minute substitute for Antony and had to be placated on the touchline by coaching staff. The renaissance began under Van Nistelrooy, with Diallo requesting extra work from the former United striker, as he often did under Ten Hag's forwards coach Benny McCarthy. It paid off with both goals against PAOK Salonika in November. The 22-year-old has reached another level under Amorim, however, playing either as a right wing-back or inside right in a 3-4-3 formation. Diallo set up a goal for Rashford inside 2 minutes of Amorim's first game at Ipswich and was man of the match against Everton. In those first 2 Premier League games under Amorim, he ran 19.8 kilometers more than any other United player. Diallo epitomizes the selfless attitude and versatility Amorim wants from his team. The Portuguese wrote about fight, heart and hunger in his program notes for the Southampton game, and his number 16 displayed all 3 as he hunted down a hat-trick. Diallo, who speaks English, French and Italian, is particularly close to Rasmus Højlund, Garnacho and Kobbie Mainoo, who shielded his Muslim teammate from the champagne spray when United won the FA Cup at Wembley in May. Club insiders describe a bright, determined and ambitious young man who has come out of his shell since breaking into the first team and is embracing the responsibility of being a senior player. It's quite the turnaround since he joined United from Atlanta in January 2021 for a fee of €19 million plus €18.2 million in add-ons. Diallo has faced his fair share of problems, not least the allegations of player trafficking that followed him from Ivory Coast to Italy. Then there was the difficult spell at Rangers. It brought 3 goals in 13 games and a Scottish FA Cup winners' medal, but Diallo's farewell was an unused substitute in the Europa League final defeat to Eintracht Frankfurt. He flourished during a significantly more successful spell at Sunderland under the tutelage of Tony Mowbray, who insisted on Diallo displaying the work ethic he wanted before playing him. The journey wasn't easy at the beginning. Sunderland gave me a lot of confidence, and supported me and my family inside and outside the pitch, said Diallo after signing his new contract last week. Now United are benefiting as well. I want to be here for a long, long, long time, he added. Not just for 5 more years, but maybe for all my life.